What if we actually figured out that insulin resistance was more of an issue with stress on your cells than just the amount of sugar on your plate? And what if there was a compound that could relieve that specific cellular pressure, allowing your blood sugar roller coaster to finally level out, simply by addressing a part of the cell that almost everyone overlooks? It turns out your insulin resistance really could be a matter of undue stress happening at a deep mitochondrial level. Most people look at TMG or Trimethylglycine and they think it is just for bodybuilders or maybe for heart health. But the real magic, the power that actually fundamentally changes your metabolic health, is happening deep inside your cells, completely rewriting the instructions for your mitochondria. We often talk about metabolic issues, those stubborn blood sugar numbers, the energy crashes in the early afternoon, or that weight around the midsection that refuses to budge, as if they are just numbers on a doctor's chart. But you know the reality is much different. It feels like a thief. It starts subtly, perhaps as a bit of brain fog you blame on a poor night's sleep, or a feeling of being leaden after a meal. It's the frustration of having the will to be active, but your body acting like a car with a clogged fuel line. The standard advice usually revolves entirely around restriction. Cut the carbs, stop eating this, avoid that. While diet is undeniably critical, that approach often misses the bigger picture. It ignores the engine itself. If your internal engine is rusted and struggling to process fuel, it doesn't matter how premium the fuel is. The car still won't run smoothly. Today, we are going to explore a compound that acts as the ultimate mechanic for that engine. We are going to walk through 5 specific layers of your metabolic health, moving from the basic signaling systems all the way to a game-changing revelation about how your body recycles its own energy. I encourage you to stay with me until we reach that final revelation, because it connects a dot that almost everyone misses: a critical link between your daily energy levels, your DNA, and a hidden drain on your system that could be silently sabotaging your health right now. Just a quick, important reminder before we begin: all the information shared today is for educational purposes. Everyone's health situation is unique, so please consult your doctor or healthcare provider before making any significant changes to your diet, exercise, or health regimen, especially if you have pre-existing conditions or are on medication. Let's use this knowledge to have informed discussions with them. Now, let's open the hood of your metabolism and look at our first major insight. Insight number 5, the molecular locksmith. Need to start with the most fundamental challenge: getting the energy out of your blood and into the cell where it belongs. We often hear the term insulin resistance, but rarely do we stop to visualize what that actually looks like physically within the body. To truly grasp this, imagine your cells are like a house with a sturdy front door. Inside that house, your mitochondria, the energy generators, are waiting for firewood, which in this case is glucose or sugar. Insulin acts like the courier standing on the front porch holding that firewood. He has a specific key to the front door. In a healthy, youthful body, the courier inserts the key. The lock turns smoothly, the door swings open, and the energy is delivered efficiently. However, in a state of insulin resistance, that lock has become jammed. It is rusty, stiff, and unyielding. The courier, Insulin, is out there jamming the key in, jiggling the handle, and banging on the door. But the lock simply won't turn. Consequently, the sugar stays out on the porch, accumulating in your blood and causing damage, while the house inside remains cold and energy-starved. This disconnect is exactly why you can have high blood sugar and yet feel completely exhausted. This is where the challenge lies for so many of us. It isn't necessarily a lack of insulin, it is a failure of the mechanical opening mechanism. Therefore, we need something to fix the lock, not just send more couriers. This is where our compound, TMG, Trimethylglycine, shines as a molecular locksmith. Health experts and researchers have identified that TMG helps activate 2 critical signaling proteins called IRS1 and AKT. You don't need to memorize those acronyms, but you can think of them as the intricate tumblers inside the lock cylinder. TMG essentially acts like a high-grade lubricant for these proteins. It oils the mechanism. When we look at animal studies, specifically those where subjects were placed on high-fat diets designed to mimic the modern, processed food lifestyle, the results are telling. These subjects developed those rusty locks, leading to high insulin resistance. But here is the fascinating part. The subjects on this diet had 50% lower levels of TMG in their livers. The metabolic stress had depleted their natural supply. When TMG levels were restored through supplementation, it didn't just artificially lower the sugar. It improved the responsiveness of the lock. The door opened easier. The courier didn't have to bang so hard. For you, this means your pancreas doesn't have to work nearly as hard to get the same amount of energy into your cells, preserving your long-term health. Strategy number 4, the furnace upgrade. Now that we have unlocked the door and managed to get the fuel inside the house, we run into the next significant hurdle. What if the furnace itself is broken? This brings us to our 4th strategy, upgrading your cellular power plants. We know that mitochondria are the power plants of our cells, but as we age, or when we are under metabolic stress, these power plants tend to become fragmented and inefficient. Imagine that instead of one high-tech, central heating furnace warming your home, you have a dozen small, smoky, inefficient campfires burning in the middle of the living room. They might produce a little bit of heat, but they create a tremendous amount of smoke, which we call oxidative stress and pollution. The issue here is that simply adding more wood, more fuel, to these smoky, scattered fires doesn't help matters. It just creates more smoke and more inflammation. This explains why sometimes, even when you eat a nutritious meal, you still feel tired and sluggish. Your conversion machinery is inefficient. Thus, we need a way to consolidate and repair these power plants. This is a process scientists call mitochondrial fusion, and it is a profound benefit of TMG. Recent biochemical research suggests that TMG helps facilitate this fusion process. It effectively encourages those little, smoky campfires to merge together into a larger, more interconnected, and efficient furnace. It specifically boosts the activity of complex 1 and complex 4. Think of these as the high-performance intake valve and the clean exhaust pipe of your new furnace. When your mitochondria are fused and functioning efficiently, 2 wonderful things happen. First, you get significantly more energy ATP from every bit of food you eat. And second, you produce far less exhaust or oxidative stress. It is a cleaner, hotter burn. For those of us in our prime, this is critical because oxidative stress is one of the primary drivers of aging and systemic inflammation. So TMG isn't just helping with blood sugar numbers. It is helping your cells run a cleaner, more sustainable operation. Now, when it comes to mitochondrial health, it's especially important for us to approach it with awareness. While TMG repairs the furnace, if you are looking to further support this system, maintaining a consistent, gentle movement routine can also signal your body to build more of these efficient power plants. It works hand in hand with the internal support TMG provides. Secret number 3, the genetic volume knob. This brings us to our 3rd secret, and this is where things get fascinatingly futuristic. We're going to look at the instruction manual itself, your DNA. You might be under the impression that your genes are set in stone, that you have the genes you were born with, and that's the end of the story. However, while your genetic code doesn't change, the way your body reads that code changes every single day, based on your environment. This is the field of epigenetics. To visualize this, think of your DNA as a massive, hardcover instruction manual for building and running your body. Epigenetics is like using a highlighter or a sticky note to mark specific pages. You can put a sticky note that says, "Read this page a lot," or one tat size, "Ignore this page, glue it shut." In a state of insulin resistance, your body is often in a state of panic. It is screaming at your pancreas to produce more and more insulin to overcome that resistance. It's like having the volume knob on your radio turned all the way up to maximum distortion. The insulin gene is being overexpressed, leading to burnout of the beta cells, the very cells that make insulin. Here is the solution offered by TMG. We need a way to turn that volume knob down to a safe, sustainable level. TMG is what we call a methyl donor. In simple terms, a methyl group is the molecular sticky note. A study in the journal PLOS One highlighted that the promoter region of the insulin gene, essentially the on switch, is heavily regulated by methylation. When TMG donates these methyl groups, it allows your body to place a quiet, down sticky note on that gene. It suppresses the frantic overexpression of insulin by a significant margin, up to 90% in some specific cellular contexts. Now, you might be thinking, don't I need insulin to live? Absolutely. But you want a controlled, steady flow, not a frantic flood. You want a precision sprinkler system for your garden, not a fire hose that washes everything away. By helping to modulate this genetic expression, TMG helps save your pancreas from exhaustion, preserving its function for the long haul. It brings harmony and balance back to the instruction manual. Crucial key number 2. The master metabolic switch. We are getting closer to the core of the issue. This next key is about how your body makes the critical decision of whether to store fat or burn it. It revolves around a protein called AMPK. In the world of metabolism, AMPK is the master switch. When this switch is flipped on, your body goes into repair and burn mode. It aggressively sucks glucose out of the blood. It burns stored body fat for fuel, and it initiates deep cleaning repair processes. It is the mode you enter when you are fasting or engaging in intense exercise. But, for many of us, as we get older, and perhaps become a bit more sedentary, or if we are eating frequently throughout the day, this switch gets stuck in the off position. When the switch is off, we are stuck in storage mode. We store fat, we leave sugar floating in the blood, and we neglect cellular repairs. It is like leaving your car in park while revving the engine. You are burning through your gas, but you aren't going anywhere. Therefore, we want to find ways to nudge this switch back to the on position without necessarily having to run a marathon every day. This is where TMG offers a surprising and powerful benefit. Research published in the Journal of Animal Science and Biotechnology found that supplementation significantly increased the expression of AMPK. It acts as a biochemical signal, telling the body, hey, it's time to burn energy, not store it. By activating this master switch, TMG promotes metabolic flexibility. It helps your body shift gears smoothly between burning sugar and burning fat. For someone dealing with insulin resistance, this is like finally getting the car into drive. It creates a natural pull that draws sugar out of the bloodstream and into the muscles where it belongs, independent of insulin. Now, regarding this metabolic switch, if you are considering combining TMG with strategies like intermittent fasting to boost that AMPK switch further, please remember to start gently and listen to your body. Some of these strategies might be more suited if you're aiming for a higher level of fitness, while others can be wonderfully adapted for consistent, gentle progress. Our goal here is empowerment through knowledge, so you can make the best choices for your unique situation. Revelation number 1. The hidden drain and the vital loop. And now, we arrive at our final, most game-changing revelation. This is the piece of the puzzle that connects everything we've discussed, the lock, the furnace, the genes, and the switch, and explains why TMG is the essential missing link for so many people. It involves a molecule you might have heard of in anti-aging circles. NAD+. NAD+ is essentially the battery charge of your life. Without it, your heart wouldn't beat, your brain wouldn't process thoughts, and your metabolism would halt. We need high levels of NAD+ for energy and for DNA repair. However, here is the catch that is almost always overlooked. When your body uses NAD+, which it does every single second of the day, it breaks it down into waste products. To get rid of this waste, and essentially recharge the battery, your liver needs to attach a specific tag to the waste to escort it out of the body. That tag is a methyl group. So, just by living, breathing, and thinking, you are constantly draining your body's supply of methyl groups. If you run out of methyl groups, 2 disasters happen simultaneously. First, you can't recycle your NAD+, so your cellular battery dies. Second, the waste product builds up in your blood. We call this waste the homocysteine compound. High levels of homocysteine are inflammatory and dangerous for your heart health, but critically for our discussion, they also inhibit the enzymes needed to fix your insulin resistance. It creates a vicious cycle. You try to make energy, you run out of methyl groups, toxic waste builds up, and your metabolism crashes further. This brings us to why TMG is the ultimate savior of this cycle. TMG stands for Trimethylglycine. As the name implies, it has 3 methyl groups to give. It is the most effective methyl donor available to the human body. It steps in and says, "Here, take my methyl groups." This action achieves 2 massive goals at once. First, it neutralizes the toxic homocysteine, converting it into helpful substances and clearing the jam. Second, it refills the pool of methyl groups so your body can keep recycling NAD+ and keep your energy batteries fully charged. It creates a perfect, elegant loop. Betaking theme. Here you are effectively stopping the drain on your system. You are allowing the locksmith to work, the furnace to burn cleanly, and the master switch to stay on, all because you provided the raw materials, the methyl groups, to keep the machinery oiled and clean. This is why TMG is often considered essential if you are taking other supplements like NMN or NR, because those supplements demand a lot of methyl groups to process. Without TMG, you might actually be stressing your system. With it, you are creating a symphony of metabolic efficiency. Practical application. How to use this information. So, how do we translate this science into your daily routine? The clinical trials and human studies we've discussed often use dosages ranging between 1,500 milligrams and 3,000 milligrams per day. TMG is usually found as a white powder TMG anhydrous or in capsules. It has a slightly sweet taste and dissolves easily in water, making it very accessible. If you are using it to support your metabolic health, many experts suggest splitting the dose, taking half in the morning and half in the evening, to keep those levels steady in your blood. However, if you are practicing fasting, taking the full dose in the morning might be beneficial to support that AMPK switch we talked about earlier. And remember, this isn't a magic wand that erases a diet of pure sugar. It is a powerful metabolic tool. It works best when paired with a lifestyle that respects your body, lowering processed carbs, prioritizing protein, and moving your body daily. We have covered a lot of ground today. We started with the molecular locksmith that oils the rusty door of insulin resistance, upgraded our cellular furnaces to stop the smoky exhaust of oxidative stress, learned how to turn down the genetic volume knob on our overworked pancreas, and how to flip the master metabolic switch to burn fat. And finally, we uncovered the hidden drain, realizing how TMG keeps our energy batteries charged and our system clear of toxicity. Which of these insights, perhaps it was the idea of the rusty lock, or maybe the connection between your energy batteries and the methyl pool, resonated with you the most? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share them in the comments below. If you found this deep dive into your cellular health valuable, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps others find our community. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more powerful strategies tailored for our fantastic group of healthy seniors. Until next time, stay healthy, stay curious, and keep thriving.